The new login procedure, we no longer are managing passwords, as you've figured out. We've partnered with Auth0 to do that for security reasons. And so there are 4 sites that are affected by that. The practice program, the assignment planner, the message playback, which is the site where you listen and review your clients' practice recordings, and the screening and assessment recordings playback. So when somebody submits a screening recordings or an assessment, and you get that email and it has the link in it that takes you to this site where you can review or check those recordings, that has the new login procedure as well. On those sites, on those other 2 sites, the practice recording review and the screening and assessments, as a trainer, you need to have either a Google account or a Facebook account or a unique Auth0 account. Most of you, I think, probably have a Google account, so you can get in fine that way. For the practice program and the planner, there are some different options. I know the print's really small on this, but I mean, you can look at it whenever you want and see it up close. You've probably seen it before. This is just the home page of the practice program that both you and your clients both go to the same site to access, and that's at comptonpeslonline.com/practice. And then you just log in with by clicking on the Auth0 button. And then you and your clients have several options to log in with. The most common probably is with Google. If you or your client don't have any of these accounts, you can create a specific, a unique Auth0 account. And that's what this box is for down here. This is not for where you type in your email address and some old Compton password. Doesn't work anymore. This is just for Auth0. That's if you don't have any of these other options up here to sign in with: Apple, Facebook, GitHub, Google, LinkedIn, Microsoft, Yahoo. We figured we covered the most common ones. And you can easily set up a Google account if you want to keep your email that you've always used with Compton and it's not a Gmail address. You can set it up with to associate it with a Google account so that you can continue to keep your same email address, but you're going to associate it with a Google account, and then you can log in that way. And the same thing over on the planner side. When you log in as the trainer, it's the same options there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with a teacher account. I'm using my client view of the practice program. So I'm still signing in as the trainer. Okay, now I got it. And I know I'm in my client view, the client view of all my clients, because I have my list of clients down here. Okay, I'm going to move that out of the way, and we'll just look at the planner for a minute. Okay, so we're in the planner, and the first thing you want to do is find your client. So all your clients are going to be listed over here, and you can find them by scrolling and highlighting, or if you know the first part of the client's email address, you can start typing it in and it should pop up, and then you can just click on it to highlight, and it will reveal any assignments that you have already created, and that'll be over here. Anytime you create an assignment, it's going to be in this area. Your templates are over here. These are any preset assignments that you have created and you want to keep, which would be consistent in this area no matter what client you selected. And most of you probably know this, but the OPT are default templates that we put in there for you that you can use if you want to. That stands for optional template. And I just picked some of the more common lessons or assignments that you might want to draw from and place those in there. But you can create your own templates as well, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm just kind of going over the different areas here. This is whatever you put in this box is what is going to appear on the client side in the upper left-hand corner. And when they hover over it, they'll see any of these assignments that you have created. And then there's a little welcome box message where you can, this is the title of the box of the welcome message. You can put anything in there that you want to, and you can enter anything into the welcome message. This is what appears on the email alert that they receive that lets them know that there's a new assignment in their practice program. By default, I put this welcome message in there. If you don't have that, if it doesn't appear by default for your client, when you click on a client and open them, I placed it on our website under the What's New post. I just copied and pasted it in there, and you can do that. You can copy and paste it and put it into any of your clients' welcome message boxes that you want to. And it just has a description of how to use the practice program. And hopefully you will have demoed the practice program to them already, but it's just kind of a nice review for them to have. And you may not want to leave it in there for more than 1 or 2 sessions. So by the time you get to session 3, you could copy to highlight, delete it, put something else in there, whatever you want to do. Let's see, the nice thing about these little information icons is that when you click on it, you'll see what your client sees when they hover over the information icon on the practice program side. So you see this is the same content there. So you can see what it will look like for them. Okay, so down below, now the only way I'm going to be able to open up the assignment specific creation area is to either click on an assignment or to create a new one. So I'm just going to show you this one that I already created, and then I'll demonstrate creating a new session assignment. Okay, everybody still with me? Can you give me a thumbs up or a yes? Okay. All right, very good. Okay, so I already created this session 1 assignment, and I typed it in here, and then I hit the enter button, and it popped it in here. And when I selected it, it opened up the creation area here. So session 1 is the label. I created it on 1/26 yesterday, and I chose the initial V as the sound that I want my client to work on for the first session. I put some information over here so that when they hover over session 1, they're going to see this little pop-up box. And it just has a label, the name of it. I'm just using a generic term, initial consonants, and typed in something here about what they're going to be working on. And again, you can look and see what that looks like for your client by clicking on that little information icon. And then I also wanted to say something about the sound itself. So when you want to enter anything into this area, you click on the sound because you may have more than one sound. So you want to click on the sound you want to talk about, and you can give it a title, and then you can say something about it. So I just typed in one of the most common errors for the initial v is to substitute a w for this consonant in the initial position of words. And I give an example. And this is an editing box. So you have an editor up here. You can put things in bold or italics, or you can color the font. There's a drop-down box for unique IPA symbols. And you can center and, you know, just typical stuff that you would have with an editing box. Okay, so now let's look at how that looks on the client side. Pull this out so you can see. Hopefully you'll still be able to see both boxes. All right, so I'm going to look up my client. It's Market Compton. There's the session 1, initial V, and see the little icon boxes. When he hovers over them, he'll see that little pop up, and that'll stay there. He can move it around or resize it, open it up. He could leave it there if he wants to. He can minimize it, or he can close it out. So again, these are things you'll want to demonstrate to your client in person or over Zoom or whatever you're using. Show them how to access these different things. And there's another little icon you can look at. Okay, making sense. Now, obviously, your client is not seeing this list of clients, right? He's going to see the word sessions up here because that's what you typed in this box up here. I could put lessons if I want to. Let's see what that looks like. If you want to, or you could put assignments. I think if you just leave it blank, the default is assignments. So if you forget and don't put anything in there, or you like the idea of it saying assignments up here, then that's fine too. This box down here is just for your own personal notes, trainer notes. You can put anything in there you want. Your client won't see that anywhere. It's just stays just for that client. And each time you select a different client, you have a different comment box there. Okay. All right, so let's move on to, I have in my note box to remind me that session 2, I want to work on initial and final unvoiced TH. So I'm ready to create session 2. And there it is. Now I'm going to come down here and yes, I like that name, session 2. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and select my sounds. So I want the initial unvoiced TH and the final one, final unvoiced TH. Okay. And I'm going to label this lesson unvoiced consonants. Type in anything you want there. I'm just off the top of my head, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm keeping it general here because I'm going to be more specific about the sounds themselves down in this area. So now I can be a little bit more specific. This appears in sort of a gray shadow over here, the name of the to identify the sound for you, that to make sure that you selected the one you want to talk about here. But then you need to type in something if you want it to show on the pop-up box. So initial consonant. Let's see. I'll select that symbol. And then type in whatever you want here. Something like maybe make sure you protrude your tongue tip slightly between your upper and lower teeth. Sound is voiceless or unvoiced. Okay. Teach. Oops. So that's for the initial consonant. Maybe I'll say otherwise. Thank you. Will sound like thank you. How's that? Okay, now I'm going to talk about the final one. Final consonant. Again, make sure your tongue is in the right position. Otherwise, that will sound like that. Okay, so you get the idea. So that's pretty easy, creating a new session. And you'll notice I wanted to point out there's no save button on this new version. That's because it's designed to auto-save every minute. If you have, after you have put something new in the box. So you'll see this timestamp down here. Sound updated. It has the date and the time. So you'll just want to double check, if you want to, if you've typed something else in here. Good luck. If you click on outside of the box, you'll see that it updates. But if you don't click anywhere else, it'll update automatically after a minute. Okay, so we've created a new session. Let me show you how to use a template. Let's say for session 3, like I have over here in my notes, I want to work on the final b, d, and g. So I've got a template for that. Yay! So I don't need to build it from scratch because Lori created a template for me and put it in my template area to make life easier. So how do I get it over there? I click and I drag it. I just bring it over into the session box and I click on it. But I don't want to call it that. I don't want, that sounds funny. My client won't understand what that is. So I'm going to change the label. I can't change it up here. I have to change it down here in the work area. So what am I going to call it? I'll call it session 3. And when I do that and hit the tab button, it changes it up here as well. So now all this stuff, information is in here for me if I want to use it. There's a label title, final voice consonants, b, d, g, and then kind of a generic description of final voice consonants. Let's see what that looks like for the client. Talking about all consonants are either voiced or unvoiced, and it gives an example there. And then I want to make sure that those sounds are actually down here, and yes, they are. And there's some information about the final consonant b and final d and final g. Okay, so these are just totally up to you whether you want to use this information. You can delete it and write in whatever you'd like, or edit it however you'd like. You can change it to your heart's content, but it will not change the template. It will only change whatever you have over in this area in the assignment for that particular client. The template will stay the same. Does that make sense? If you decide you don't want to have him work on all 3 sounds, you can delete one of them. It'll ask you, are you sure you want to delete final d? Yes, I do. I only want him to work on final b and final d. Okay, again, it doesn't change the template, but you can change it to whatever you want, or edit it to whatever you want over on once you've moved it over here. Okay. So speaking of templates, let me show you how you can save an assignment that you have created as a template. So let's say session 2, which I just finished creating, which was initial TH and final TH unvoiced. I think I might want to use that again for another client. So I'm going to save that as a template. So the way I do that is to click and move it over to the template area. And click on it. I can work on that template here. So I don't want to call it session 2 in my template area. I want to call it something that I will recognize so that I can use it when I want to. And I could say optional, or I could just say initial and final. Oops, so not enough room there. Initial, final. TH. I think there's only a limited number of spaces there, so got to keep it short. All right, so there it is. There's my new template for initial and final unvoiced TH. So that's how you can save one of your sessions that you've created for someone as a template so you can use it for other clients. All right, and then the last example is to create a new template. I can create a new template here. Like for example, maybe L blends. See where it is. L blends. So I'm going to do some work on that. It's L blends. And remember, I'm just creating a template now, not a session for my client. There's some L blends. Maybe I'll do 3 of them. Okay, I selected 3 blends. I'm going to give it a title over here. Pretty generic. Consonant blends. We are going to work on initial consonant blends. A blend is when 2 or more consonants are blended together at the beginning of words. And then I come down here and I can spend some time talking about each specific blend. Oops, I'm going to put FL. FL consonant blend. Example. Flower. You might want to say something like, common error is to substitute an sound. So instead of fly, it's fry, or flower is flower. You know, whatever it is your particular client may do with that sound. Okay, so once you have those, all 3 of those, some description there if you want. And again, that's optional. You can leave it blank if you want. You don't even have to put anything in these boxes. It's just that when your client hovers over the info box, it'll be blank. So it's kind of nice to put something in there. Okay, so question is, so all the information on the right final voiced consonants and final consonant is preloaded and will automatically pop up. Oh, okay, let's see, let's make sure I know what you're referring to. Oh, I see what you're saying. Only if the client hovers over the information icon. So let me show you over here. Let's refresh our page. So I'm looking at what my client sees now. See these little icons? If they hover over it or they click on it, whatever you typed in over in the boxes over here on this side will display. And it stays up there until they get it out of the way. Here's another example. Each of these sessions has a little icon that I produced. So you can see that it pops up and it changes as they click on each one. Does that answer your question, Vicki? Okay. I pointed out the timestamp. Let's see, so we have to create all of this information then. It isn't preloaded. Oh, okay, so you're talking about over here in these boxes here? Right, the only ones that are preloaded are the optional template ones, which I've put over here. And that was being presumptuous because I'm assuming that what I wanted to say about them were what you wanted to say to your particular clients. But like I said, I did try to create some that were, you know, the most common ones, initial, unaspirated consonants and diphthongs. And let's see, what else do I have? Initial final z, front vowel final v, central vowel, front val, R blends. Oh, I don't know about R blends. I think I might have created that one. So yeah, just put some of the most common ones. So I'm assuming you're going to want to say specific things about the sounds that you want your client to work on. Okay. Now another option that you can do, I'll just kind of briefly show this to you. I won't actually do it, but let's say that I decide that I actually want them to work on the final b, d, and g in session 2 instead of session 3. So the b and the d I have right now at session 3, but I want them to work on that first. So I can click and drag it and move the position. And then of course I'll have to change the name, right, to 2. And I'll change this one to 3. So you can do that if you want as well. Okay, so we talked about logging in, selecting the client email. We went through session 1. We created a new session. I showed you how to use a template by clicking and dragging it over into the session box. Pointing out the timestamp. This is whatever date you have in here is the date you want this client to be able to view the assignment. If you're creating this assignment on the same day as the date that is in this box, they will have access to it immediately. As quick as that can be auto-save, they'll have access to it. But they won't receive the alert email until tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. So if you want them to work on the assignment today, then you need to email them separately and tell them, go ahead and log in and you'll see your newest assignment that I put in there. But they still will get an email tomorrow. But it doesn't go out until the following morning. Go ahead and type in any questions you might have. If not, we will just, okay, someone's asking, how do you make your assignment a template again? Oh, okay, good question. Let's see. Any of your assignments over here that you've created that you want to save as a template? For example, let's see, which one haven't I done yet? Let's say initial V. Let's say I want to save that as a template. I just click and drag it over into the template box. But I don't want to leave it as labeled session 1 because that doesn't mean anything to me. I want to rename it. So I would rename it initial V. And now I have an initial V template that I can use for somebody else. It doesn't remove that assignment from my client's assignment box. I've just copied it, basically. I've copied it and placed it over in the template box. Can you show the client's page so that we can see what they really see? Yeah, I've got to log out. That's okay. I'll do it real quick so you can see what it looks like from a client view. Here we are, and somebody wanted me to go over the login again anyway, so here we go. So I went to the site, comptonpeslonline.com/practice, and clicked on the, this is the landing page. I'm gonna click on Auth 0 and log in. Both you and your client go to the same site, but I'm logging in as a client now. I'm logging in with my Gmail address. Let's see, Mark. Okay. So this is my client, Mark, at ComptonPESLonline.com. And remember how I typed in assignments up here? Well, it's a default. I think I had sessions before. And I could change that if I wanted to. But if you don't type anything in this box up here, the default is assignments. So that's what he says. The audio lab's still there, but all the assignments that I created for him. Anyway, there's the sessions. There's the little pop-up icons. There's the specific sound that he's going to work on. And when he clicks on it, it takes him to that section. But he still has the audio lab over here. Okay, good. So I'm going to stop sharing.